2024 getting saucy. Joe Biden and Donald Trump both fighting for the union vote. A few days ago, the union auto workers endorsed Joe Biden for president, even though Joe is destroying the auto industry by forcing the auto industry to produce electric vehicles that nobody wants and nobody's buying. But President Trump is making a play for the Teamsters union. Trump traveled to Washington to meet with union leadership, and here is what he said on his way out of the meeting.
Strong meeting with the Teamsters. Over the years, I've employed thousands and thousands of Teamsters, and they've done a great job, especially in New York, where we have a lot of unions. I've had great relationships with the unions.
Yep, Donald Trump has actually given jobs to a lot of union workers who have built skyscrapers in New York City that we discussed earlier, and they've worked on his properties all over the world. Joe Biden has never employed one union employee, or actually anyone ever, except maybe a housekeeper or two, I don't know. And this is on the heels of the news that UPS, one of the largest companies comprised of Teamsters workers, just announced a staggering 12,000 layoffs just this week. And coincidentally, UPS is headquartered in Fulton County, Georgia. Well, isn't that special? As the church lady used to say. All right, guys, could Trump actually pull off a union endorsement? That is the question. Let's bring in the one and only Steve Gruber for more on this. Steve, it's great to see you. Steve, you heard what we thought. Will Trump ever get the union leadership on board? I have to tell you, I've watched this over and over again as Republicans bow down and kowtow to the unions, thinking they're going to get their support. And the bottom line is they will get some of the rank and file, but they'll get it with or without kowtowing to the union bosses. Isn't it like any corporation, Steve, where you might like the people you work with, but you might not agree with the heads of your corporation necessarily politically, and they're going to do their own thing anyway. I kind of hate to see Trump with as much of his time being taken from him by the left. I kind of hate to see him spend his time trying to get the union endorsement. I think it's tired.
Well, let's talk about the union vote. I grew up in Michigan. I work and live in Michigan again, and so I have a pretty front row seat to the unions, especially the United Auto Workers Union. All right, there are 146,000 UAW members working in the auto industry today. Think about that, 146,000. That's it. In 1979, there were 1.5 million members of the UAW. 1.5 million. It's 146,000. Sean Fain, the head of the UAW, has just endorsed Joe Biden. He says, though, most of my members won't ever vote for Joe Biden. That part's true. And if they follow Joe Biden's plan on EVs that you were just talking about, G, that'll eliminate 60,000 more UAW union jobs. That means the UAW totally wiping out basically the factory workers for the auto industry, down to about 90,000, 85,000. That'll be it. Of all the unionized car workers in America, 85,000 following Joe Biden's plan. So nobody's going to vote for this in the rank and file. How Sean Fain can sell out his membership is jaw-dropping. So whether or not Donald Trump gets the endorsement of the Teamsters or the AFL-CIO or anybody else for that matter, doesn't really matter. The working people in America began moving to Donald Trump in 2015. They stayed there in 16. They came back in 2020. And they'll be there even stronger in 2024 because they know that Donald Trump is in there fighting for them. While these union workers, and there's been plenty of scandals in the UAW, big mansions and money under the table and bribery and corruption. That's been true in a lot of unions, especially recently. So the rank and file members, they see that. They don't want any part of that. They want somebody who's going to roll up their sleeves and fight for America, which means fighting for their jobs. So to me, it's fairly irrelevant if he gets the endorsement or not, because he gets the endorsement of those workers one vote at a time, and I think that's most important.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, Steve. And, even Sean O'Brien came out after that meeting with Trump yesterday and said, yeah, we're totally not on board with anything he's saying about immigration. Excuse me. But, of course, that's Sean O'Brien. That's the brass, right? I mean, it's nothing to do with the rank and file.
And that's because he wants more members, right? I mean, that's because he wants more union dues, wants to collect more union dues from illegals.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that's a big, of course, for sure. And then, Steve, you kind of go to the macro issue here about independents and blue-collar workers and kind of de facto, to a degree, union workers as well. And you look at what Trump did in 2016, and immigration, number one issue, obviously the economy, but immigration right there in 2016. 2020, not so much when he ran. Why? Because he was taking care of it, obviously, to a degree, more than to a degree. But then 2024, it's back again as a #1 issue, and it just seems to track. It seems like blue collar, independents, moderates, no, not even moderates, but independents and blue collars really track with the immigration issue more than anything else, and I think that'll propel him as well in 2024.
I don't disagree with you, David, and let me tell you something here. There is a movement afoot, and it's not just in America. We see the truckers going toward the border now as they decide to stand up and be heard. But you look at what's going on in Brussels, Belgium at this hour, Paris, France at this hour. The ordinary working people globally, worldwide, are rejecting the World Economic Forum. Look at the world. They're rejecting Agenda 2030. They're saying, look, we're not going to do this. The farmers right now have circled around the EU headquarters in Brussels, Belgium, lit a few fires, and there's giant tractors everywhere. You know, they put out roadblocks, and these tractors are like, really? That's the best you got? And they go right down through the ditch and drive around and continue the protest. This has been going on in Germany. It's going on in the Netherlands. It's going on in France. It's going on in Belgium and Lithuania and Poland. It goes on all over the world. And this kind of rejection of the globalist philosophy is happening now, I believe, all over the place. And so because of that, Donald Trump rolling up his sleeves, being with the working class people, being with the people that go to work every day and struggle to pay their bills, him standing with those folks while the globalists tell us to buy a $100,000 EV that may or may not work in cold weather in Michigan where I live, probably not in the winter very well, actually. Those ideas are being rejected. I think there's a worldwide movement here. I think it's beyond Donald Trump now. I think it's Argentina. It's Italy. Yep. It's all the countries in Europe I just mentioned that have voted in people that are like rejecting the globalists and the weffers out of hand. They don't want Klaus Schwab. They want to self-determine their own path to happiness and freedom. And that's what people are fighting for here in America and around the world.